Rogue One was released late 2016 and it's made over $1 billion at the box office. If you didn't know, because you've been to Mars or something, it's part of a new anthology of spin-off films based on the Star Wars universe, and this particular story is a prequel to Episode 4, A New Hope. It really is a great film, and it's received a lot of accolades from critics and fans alike, and it looks like there will be many more made. But where did the story come from? In the first Star Wars, Episode 4, which I know is confusing to those who don't really watch Star Wars, the opening crawl had this line in it, and it was a line simply taken from the opening credits of the film. And that simple line was the inspiration for the story of Rogue One. Kathleen Kennedy, the producer, confirmed this when she was asked if the new films would feature the now famous crawl at the beginning. If you are a Star Wars fan, then you'll know that at the beginning of every Star Wars film there is the crawl, which explains the beginning of the film. She said, "We're in the midst of talking about it, but I don't think these films will have an opening crawl." She said the idea is that the film is different from the other saga films, like Star Wars Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. However, this film is born out of a crawl, so there she was admitting that that single bit of text in that crawl was the seed that the story came from. Further on in the original film, there's also a hint to why Rogue One ended as it did.
Many Bothans died to bring us this information.
So literally seconds of a film, a few lines from a script, and we have an entirely new story which has gone on to make a fortune. But how does this relate to us? Well, creating content is by far the most important part of your SEO campaign, and it's something I've been personally banging on about for years. But there comes a time when people think, what's there left to write about? It's the writer's nightmare. Surely everything has been written. First of all, let's get this straight. There's always plenty to write about. Your industry and how it's affected by outside influences, the economy, the environment, all of these have an effect on something that is close to you or your work. There's always change. It's the only thing we can be sure about. But still, when it comes to writing a good story, where do you get your inspiration from? Your existing content might be the key. If you haven't already heard about it, consider the idea of cornerstone content. This is content that sits at the heart of your website and is a central piece of information about a particular subject. In effect, it holds everything together. For example, you could have a page that explains how to fit a new bathroom suite. This would ideally be a really comprehensive piece of content that explains in a lot of detail all the bits and pieces that go together to make your bathroom look fantastic. However, it's going to include some information that will probably require a little bit more detail. You probably need to explain how to fit bath taps and maybe have some videos on doing that itself. This is the sort of content you should link to elsewhere on your website. And of course, that content links back to this main bit of content, which then becomes your cornerstone. So that's fair enough, but how can it help make more content? Well, the important thing to do, and probably the first thing you should do, is look at your existing article and consider whether it really is that clear for people who aren't you. You see, as you're immersed in your own industry, some things will be obvious to you, but not to others. In your big piece of content, there might be a single throwaway sentence that makes perfect sense to you, but which others are completely baffled by. Could that become the starting point for a whole new section of great information that goes on to bring you sales? Probably, and it certainly hasn't harmed Disney.